Blood. What is blood made from? Blood is made up of a watery fluid called plasma and billions of tiny blood cells. There are two types of blood cells in your blood: red blood cells and white blood cells. Red blood cells are needed for carrying oxygen around your body, while white blood cells fight any infection that might enter your body. Blood also contains tiny fragments called platelets, which help your blood to clot when you cut yourself. What does blood do? Blood has many functions in the body. It is the body's transport system carrying oxygen and nutrients to the body's cells and taking waste products away. White blood cells are like soldiers and defend the body from invading germs. When you cut yourself, platelets in your blood form a protective clot to protect and heal your body. Blood also helps to keep your body at the right temperature. When you get hot, your blood vessels expand and allow heat to escape through the skin. When your body is cold, your small blood vessels get smaller, allowing less heat to escape from your body. Why is blood red in color? You have many more red blood cells than white blood cells in your blood. Red blood cells contain red-colored chemical called hemoglobin, which gives your blood its red color. Red blood cells transport oxygen from the lungs to all parts of the body. It then picks up carbon dioxide, which is waste from the body, and returns it to the lungs where it is breathed out. The body needs iron to form hemoglobin. If there is a lack of iron in your body, you can become seriously ill. How is blood carried round the body? Blood travels round the body in three types of tubes called arteries, veins, and capillaries. Collectively, these are your blood vessels. Arteries are big and thick and carry blood away from the heart to all parts of the body. Veins are thinner than arteries and carry blood from all parts of the body back to the heart. The tiniest blood vessels are called capillaries, which connect arteries and veins and allow oxygen and food to pass into the body's cells. The tiny capillaries also pass on the waste again to veins. How much blood is in your body? As you grow, so the volume of blood in your body increases. Newborn babies have about 250 ml of blood, about a cup full, while an adult has around 5 liters of blood. About half of your blood is watery plasma. The rest is made up of cells and the nutrients and hormones which it carries. Your heart pumps around 300 liters of blood an hour, or all of your blood volume each minute. This adds up to an amazing 7,200 liters a day and 2.6 million liters of blood a year. That's over 700 swimming pools worth. Why does blood clot? When you cut or injure yourself, tiny fragments in your blood clump together to form a clot, which stops the bleeding and prevents germs from entering the wound. The clot seals the wound and also stops germs from entering the broken skin. The clot slowly hardens into a scab which protects the wound while it heals. How long can the blood vessels be stretched? If all the blood vessels in your body were joined together, they would stretch over 60,000 miles or 2.5 times round the earth. What is blood pressure? Heart is the organ responsible for pumping blood. The heart pumps blood into the aorta. The pressure or flow of blood in the aorta and its main branches is defined as blood pressure. The heart has to develop a high pressure so that blood can be pumped through the fine contraction of systolic phase. It is equal to that exerted by a column of 120 mm of mercury. In the relaxation of diastolic phase, it is about 80 mm of mercury. It is typically 120 to 80 in the artery of a resting adult person. It varies from person to person and is affected by age, sex, heredity, physical and emotional states, and other factors. Blood pressure is measured by an instrument called sphygmomanometer. What is blood transfusion? Blood is a very vital component of our body. In the case of serious injury, accident, or during an operation, we may lose considerable amount of blood from our body. Some diseases and health conditions also affect blood formation, causing blood deficiency or anemia. In all such cases, blood is introduced in our body to replenish the lost blood. This is called blood transfusion. Blood from a healthy person is transferred to the deficient person. The person who gives blood is called a donor, while the person who receives it is called the recipient. However, only a suitable donor can donate blood to a recipient. The recipient can approach the blood bank where blood collected from the donor is stored. Bones. What happens when you break a bone? A broken bone is called a fracture. A fracture may be open, where the broken bone sticks out through the skin, or closed, where the skin is not broken. If it is thought you may have a broken bone, an X-ray which shows a picture of the bones under the skin will be taken. The bone may then need pins to hold it together or a plaster cast to keep it in place until the break has mended. How many bones are there in your body? Most adults have 206 bones in their body, though a few people have an extra pair of ribs, giving those 208 bones. Your hands and feet have 110 bones between them, more than half of all the bones in your body. Babies are born with over 300 bones, but many of these fuse together as they grow. What are bones made of? Bones are made of proteins and minerals, which it gets from the food you eat. There are two types of bones. The outer hard layer of bone is called compact bone, which is made of tiny tubes called osteons. Inside the compact bone is a softer bone called spongy bone. Spongy bone contains bone marrow, which makes blood cells and stores fat. Which are the smallest and largest bones in your body? The smallest bone in your body is the stirrup bone or steps inside your ear, which is only 2.5 millimeters long. The largest bone is the femur or thigh bone, which makes up 1/4 of your height. The femur is also the heaviest and strongest bone in your body. How do bones move? Bones can move because they have joints where two bones meet and muscles that are attached to them. Joints that have a lot of movement, such as your knee joint, are called synovial joints. The ends of the bones are covered with cartilage, which is smooth, and the joint secretes a fluid called synovial fluid, which together allows the bones to move without rubbing together. Muscles contract or get shorter and move the bones by pulling on them. How many pairs of ribs do you have? Most people have 12 pairs of ribs. Your ribs are long, curved bones that are attached to your spine at the back. In the front, some ribs are attached to your breastbone by cartilage. The top 7 pairs are called true ribs because they are attached to your breastbone. The next 3 pairs are connected to the lowest true rib by cartilage and are called false ribs. The last 2 pairs of ribs are called floating ribs because they do not reach round the front of your chest. Is a bone stronger than a steel bar? Bone is 5 times stronger than a steel bar of the same weight. Did you know that the human body has a tail? The coccyx is a very short, stubby bone at the base of the backbone. Luckily, we cannot see it on the outside. Digestion and excretion. What happens to food after you have swallowed it? After you have swallowed food, it travels down a tube called the esophagus and into your stomach. Your stomach is a bag where the food is mixed up with juices to form a liquid. It then passes into a tube called the small intestine. The food is broken up into useful molecules and proteins, which pass into your bloodstream and are carried to all parts of your body. Some of the dissolved food is carried to your liver. Your liver stores some useful parts of food such as vitamins and sugar and changes harmful substances such as alcohol, making them safer for the body. The remaining waste passes into another tube called the large intestine, where the water is absorbed and the waste becomes solid. The solid waste or feces passes through your bowels, which let you know when to go to the toilet. Why do we get hungry? We feel hungry if we don't eat for a long time. Our stomach becomes empty and our brain tells us that the blood is running out of energy. Hunger reminds the body that it needs to eat again. How long does it take for food to be digested? Digestion starts when you put something into your mouth and ends when the food particles pass into the bloodstream. Food stays in the stomach for 3 to 4 hours and then travels through about 8 meters of the small intestine. How much you eat, what you eat, and how long you chew food determines how long it takes to be digested. Normally, this is around 24 to 36 hours, with fatty foods taking the longest to be absorbed. How does your body get rid of waste? Your body gets rid of waste in different ways. Urine and feces are the waste products from eating and drinking. Carbon dioxide is waste that is produced by cells all over your body. When you breathe out, you get rid of carbon dioxide, which would otherwise poison your body. Sweating also helps get rid of excess waste from your body. How does the skin help excretion? Because it is the largest organ of the body, the skin plays a much more important role in excretion than you would imagine. We sweat out about 550 ml of sweat every day. Although most of this is water, sweat also contains chemicals and salts that the body doesn't need. Some foods, particularly herbs and spices such as garlic, can make your sweat smell garlicky as the unwanted toxins are released through the skin. What do your kidneys do? Kidneys are bean-shaped organs which are situated on either side of your back. Your kidneys filter unwanted water and waste products from your blood to form urine. Urine passes into tubes called ureters from the kidneys and is then stored in the bladder. When the bladder fills, you get the urge to go to the toilet. Urine passes from the bladder out of the body through another tube called the urethra. How much waste do you produce? The amount of urine you produce depends on how much you drink, but an adult passes about 1,500 ml of urine a day. Added up over a lifetime, your body makes enough urine to fill 500 bathtubs. Every year, your body produces about 50 kg of solid waste, or enough to fill a cement mixer in an average lifetime. How much will you eat in your lifetime? You will eat about 30,000 kg of food in your lifetime, or the equivalent weight of 6 elephants. Why do we put on weight? Food produces energy and makes our body strong. If we eat more than our body needs, the food will not be used up. Instead, it will be stored in our body as fat and we put on weight. How do you digest food? The digestion begins in the mouth itself. The teeth break bulk food into smaller pieces by chewing. The saliva mixes with the food and converts starch into sugar. Then through the food pipe, the food enters the stomach. Gastric juice in the stomach contains different enzymes which act on the food and convert it into simpler forms. The food then moves to the duodenum. Here the food mixes with bile juice made by liver and stored in the gallbladder, and the pancreatic juice from the pancreas. The food, by the action of various enzymes, breaks down in the simplest soluble substances. Now from the duodenum, the food enters the lower parts of the small intestine known as ileum, where the absorption of digested food takes place. The undigested food now moves down to the large intestine. Here water is absorbed and the solid residue forms feces, which passes to the rectum, and then it is ejected from the body through the anus. How does your kidney work? The urinary system in human beings consists of 2 kidneys, ureters, urinary bladder, and urethra. The reddish-brown, bean-shaped kidneys are situated at the back of the abdominal cavity, one on each side of the vertebral column. The kidneys are made up of a large number of coated tube-shaped filters called nephrons. They carry nitrogenous waste material and excess water from the blood and form urine, which passes via ureters to the urinary bladder. When the bladder gets filled with urine, it is exerted through the urethra by contraction of muscles around the urinary bladder. Waste material removal is important for all living organisms. Normal kidney function is essential for good health.